They called him trash until she found out who he really was. It began in the cold, unlit corners of the city, where wealth meant everything and the invisible were stepped over like shadows. Patrick had nothing. No family. No money. Just a duffel bag and an old violin case he never opened. People thought he was crazy. Some thought he was dangerous. Most just didn't think of him at all. Until Daniela. A girl with perfect skin, glossy lips, and an attitude sharpened by diamonds. But beneath her socialite smile was pain. The kind only silence knows. One rainy evening, fate collided in the most unexpected place, a side alley behind the Amber Lux Hotel. Daniela was being followed. 3 men, masks, knives, and no help in sight. Until the nobody stepped in. Patrick didn't flinch. He didn't scream. He moved like something trained, something born in the dark. And when it was over, she wasn't just saved. She was shaken. "Who are you?" He didn't answer. Just walked off like she didn't matter. But to her, that moment changed everything. Daniela brought him soup the next day. Then warm clothes. Then herself. Everyone thought she was crazy. Her fiancé walked out. Her father threatened to disown her. But she didn't care. She found a small apartment. Got Patrick a phone. Cleaned his wounds. Learned how he never answered questions about his past. But then the dream started. He'd cry out at night, names in Latin, and hold his chest like it burned. She Googled one of the phrases, Ordo Medicus Absolutus. Nothing, except a declassified report about a miracle doctor who saved the life of a foreign prime minister without touching him. That man disappeared 5 years ago. No name. No face. Just a code name, PX. Daniela laughed it off. Until she saw the scar on Patrick's back, the exact same sigil. She was ready to marry him. But at the engagement dinner, the Montel family, the richest dynasty in the country, exploded. "You're marrying a stray? A street rat? He's after your name, your money." Her father slammed his cane down. "Choose him, and lose everything." Daniela looked at Patrick. "I choose him." Patrick smiled, but it wasn't joy. It was sorrow. "You don't know who I am, and you shouldn't." He left. Vanished. No note. No goodbye. Just silence. Then Daniela became sick with a strange illness. They said it was a rare illness. Doctors gave her 6 months. No cure. No hope. Until a letter arrived. No stamp. Just a wax seal burned into the envelope. "Hold on, Danny. I never stopped watching. P." She looked up, eyes filled with tears. They thought he was trash. Just a lowly homeless man wandering the streets in torn clothes and hollow eyes. But Daniela saw something no one else did, not just pain, not just mystery, but purpose. When Patrick vanished after their confrontation with her father, everyone thought he had disappeared for good. Her family rejoiced. Her mother called it a miracle. But Daniela, she couldn't breathe without him. 3 weeks passed. No texts. No calls. His number? Disconnected. But then, one night, thunder cracked the sky open like a warning. Daniela found herself at a charity gala hosted by her father's business partners. Dressed in sorrow and silk, she smiled through the pain, until the host introduced the night's guest of honor. "And now we welcome the world's most elusive medical mind, Dr. P. Alaric." The hall fell into stunned silence as the spotlight hit the entrance. There he stood. In a custom black suit, hair slicked back, expression unreadable. Patrick. Her Patrick. But the world now called him Dr. Patrick Alaric, the #1 miracle surgeon in the world. A man who had saved presidents, monarchs, and once resurrected a man declared dead for 10 minutes. Her father's smug face collapsed into disbelief. Daniela stood frozen. Her tears weren't just of shock, they were of betrayal. Why didn't he tell her? And that's when it hit her. He didn't disappear. He walked away. And he did it to protect her. "I wasn't trash," Patrick's voice echoed across the ballroom, piercing the silence. "I was just tired of pretending I was nothing, so her world wouldn't crumble." Daniela rushed toward him but was intercepted by security. Her father had given strict orders. She must not see him. In the background, the media roared. Cameras flashed. And then, another twist. From the shadows, a woman emerged. Blonde. Stunning. And clearly close to Patrick. She clutched his arm. "This is the fiancée of Dr. Patrick Alaric," the MC announced. "Miss Helena Croy." Daniela's heart shattered. Fiancé? No, this couldn't be real. Not after everything they shared. But Helena leaned in and whispered loud enough only for Daniela to hear. "He was mine long before he saved your life." Daniela spirals. Was everything a lie? Meanwhile, Helena's dark connection to Patrick is deeper than anyone knows. And what no one realizes is that Patrick is dying. Slowly. Silently. The world's greatest healer can't save himself. She watched in silence as the cameras surrounded him. Her Patrick, the man she once fed on the streets, now the world's most sought-after miracle doctor, standing next to a woman she'd never met. Helena Croy. A name Daniela hadn't heard before, but soon would never forget. Helena was poised, cruel, and radiated danger. But her smile, that smile wasn't for the crowd. It was for Daniela. A declaration of war in designer heels. As Daniela was escorted out of the ballroom by security, her father's orders, she felt two betrayals crushing her from either side. Patrick's silence and his supposed engagement. But what if it wasn't what it looked like? That night, Daniela received a letter, slipped under her door. No name, just a blood-red wax seal in the shape of a phoenix. Inside, a photo, faded, torn at the edges. A child standing beside a man who looked eerily like Patrick, but younger, fresher, happier. The back read, "He saved you once before." But they buried the truth. Suddenly, memories she'd locked away as a child came flooding back. A fire, screams, a man dragging her out of a burning estate, and a voice whispering, "You're safe now, little Danny." It was him. Patrick had saved her once. She just didn't remember. But that raised a terrifying question: why didn't he tell her? Daniela tracked down an old hospital in a town no one talked about. Its records were sealed. But she bribed the right nurse, a trembling woman who recognized Patrick's photo immediately. They buried his past because they feared his power. Power? He was just a doctor, wasn't he? That's when she learned the truth. Patrick was more than a miracle healer. He was part of an underground project called Project Aegis, a Black Ops medical division that created genetically enhanced doctors capable of healing incurable diseases or inflicting untraceable ones. He didn't just save people, he could choose who lives and who dies. Helena Croy? She wasn't a fiancée. She was his handler. A government spy, sent to control him. But now, Patrick had gone rogue. Daniela races back to confront Patrick but finds his penthouse ransacked, blood on the walls, and a phone left behind with one message playing on loop. She knows. Finish the job. Or we finish you. As Daniela turns to leave, a cold hand clasps her mouth. Daniela's scream never escaped her lips. The cold hand silenced it before sound could form, and the next thing she knew, she was blindfolded and thrown into the back of a van. Every bump on the road was a threat. Every second of silence, a countdown. She didn't know where she was going. But she knew why. She knew too much. When the blindfold was finally yanked off, Daniela found herself in an abandoned medical facility, surgical lights flickering overhead, walls stained with old blood, and in front of her, Helena Croy. "You're braver than I expected," Helena said, circling her like a shark. "But brave girls die every day, especially when they fall in love with weapons." Daniela demanded answers. She deserved them. Helena laughed. "You think he loves you? That thing was engineered to obey, to operate. He doesn't love, he calculates." But Daniela saw through it. Helena wasn't just here to scare her, she was jealous, possessive, and maybe afraid. "Where's Patrick?" Daniela asked. Helena smiled. "Running out of time." Meanwhile, miles away, Patrick was bleeding. The safe house was breached. Whoever sent that message wasn't bluffing. He fought them off, but they weren't ordinary agents, they were fail-safes. Part of the same protocol that created him. They were made to kill people like him. His only weakness was Daniela. If they had her, she was leverage. If they hurt her, he'd become unstoppable. But Patrick wasn't going to let them choose. He injected himself with Prototype X3, an unstable serum developed during the final days of Project Aegis. It would unlock his full abilities, but at a cost. "If I lose control," he whispered into his audio log, "I need you to remember one thing, Danny. I never stopped choosing you. Even when the world told me I couldn't." Daniela's childhood, previously suppressed memory, she remembered now. The fire. Incidents. It wasn't fate. Patrick had been assigned to eliminate her family. But when he saw her, he defied the order. He chose to save her instead, becoming a traitor to everything he was built to be. She wasn't just his second chance. She was his first rebellion. Just as Helena raised the scalpel, ready to make an example of Daniela, boom. The wall behind them exploded inward. Through the smoke stepped a figure, eyes glowing faintly, blood dripping from his sleeve, and a voice darker than death. "Step away from my wife." When Daniela opened her eyes, the first thing she saw wasn't the knife. It was the fear in Helena's. Because standing behind her, limping, blood-soaked, and barely breathing, was the man they called a mistake. Patrick. The miracle doctor they couldn't kill. The weapon they couldn't cage. "You're not supposed to be alive," Helena gasped. "That injection, it should have destroyed your nervous system." Patrick smirked, cold and slow. "You built me, Helena. But you never understood me." The prototype X3 didn't just enhance Patrick's strength. It unlocked his original memory, the one Helena wiped when she took him from his real family. And with it came one devastating truth. He was never trash. He was the missing heir of the Magnus Institute, a secret dynasty that once led the global medical elite. They took him as a child. They broke him, trained him to obey. But love rewired him. Daniela's father, once a top general, was part of the project. He ordered the purge that left Patrick's village in ashes. The girl Patrick saved years ago? Daniela. The child who smiled at him from behind the fire, was the reason he stopped being a machine. Patrick drops to his knees beside Daniela. She's bruised, bleeding, but alive. "I told you," she whispers through cracked lips, "you're not trash. You're everything." Helena raises her pistol. "He's not yours to keep. He belongs to us." Patrick stands up, his voice like thunder. "I don't belong to anyone. Not anymore." In a swift, brutal moment, Patrick disarms Helena. But before he can end it, sirens. Red lights flood the facility. An emergency override protocol activates, initiating final phase, asset termination. They're not letting him walk out. A countdown begins. 10. He turns to Daniela, blood trickling down his temple. "I can get you out. But I don't think I'm coming with you." She shakes her head, crying. "No, not again. We fight. Together." A steel door crashes open. A new figure steps out, black trench coat, silver insignia on his chest. "Dr. Patrick Magnus, you were never the only miracle." Behind him, an army of enhanced prototypes, each one modeled after Patrick's design. And they've come to reclaim their king, or destroy him. Cut to black. A steel door slams open. Out steps a man in a black trench coat, polished boots hitting the ground like gunshots. The silver insignia on his chest glints under the corridor light. VX-01. Daniela gasps. Who is that?" Patrick's jaw tightens. "Not who," he murmurs. "What?" "That's the prototype that came after me." Behind VX-01, more figures appear, dozens. Clad in black. Moving with eerie precision. No emotion. No hesitation. Each one modeled after Dr. Patrick Magnus, the miracle the world thought was one of a kind. But now they've come to take him back. Or tear him down. Then came a flashback to when he was younger. Young Patrick in a sterile lab, screaming as wires are embedded into his skin. A secret lab director whispering, "Make him love, then break him. It's part of the test." Then came another where Daniela's father was secretly meeting a shadowy figure. Daniela's father shaking hands with a shadowy figure. "My daughter will never marry your experiment." Daniela, stepping forward, asked Patrick, "Why do they want you?" Patrick stares ahead. "Because I left the program. Because I loved someone. That was never part of their plan." VX-01 raises a hand. "You are a deviation, Magnus. We were designed to serve, not feel." But before the first strike hits, Patrick claps his hands together, and the ground rumbles. He's not the same man who was thrown out like trash. He's evolved. He's unlocked powers even the creators couldn't predict. Suddenly the air crackles. A blue glow pulses through his veins. He whispers, "This ends now." Somewhere in the Magnus family, Daniela's mother stares at an old photograph of a child, hooked up to machines. She sighs and says, "You lied to her, Arturo. You told her he was a beggar, but he's our son's donor. The one who saved our firstborn before he vanished." Daniela's entire world begins to shatter. What if the man she loves is connected to the brother she lost? Patrick fights the prototypes one by one. But as they fall, something strange happens. Each one whispers the same phrase with their dying breath. Project Daedalus has awakened. Cut to a dark mountain facility. A blinking red light. A figure in stasis. A heartbeat monitor spikes. Thump, thump, thump. And in the shadows another voice. "Release the Alpha." It's time he met his maker. A steel door slams open. From the smoke steps a figure in a long black coat, the chrome insignia on his chest gleaming under the flickering hallway lights. Behind him dozens of men, perfectly synchronized, eyes glowing with faint blue circuitry. Their movements are too perfect, too inhuman. Dr. Patrick Magnus, the leader, says coldly, "You were never the only miracle, only the first." Daniela stands frozen behind Patrick, her breath visible in the cold air, her heart pounding. "Who are they?" she whispers. Patrick's voice is low, almost broken. "The Helix series. Prototypes. I thought they were dismantled years ago." They weren't. The Helix prototypes begin to advance, moving with cold precision. Their boots strike the metal floor like synchronized thunder. At the front stands the leader, Model 01, once Patrick's closest friend in the lab, before the collapse of Project Helix. Daniela grabs Patrick's hand. "We have to run." But Patrick doesn't move. "They won't stop, Daniela. Not until I face them. Not until they remember." Flashback. A younger Patrick, surrounded by machines and monitors. A government scientist labeling him Asset A0. Screaming during experimentation. A hidden journal entry, "If I survive, I will never become what they made me to be." "I didn't escape them to survive," Patrick says, his voice steel. "I escaped so I could choose who I become." Patrick steps forward. He activates an encrypted neural beacon from his coat, an override chip only he knows how to use. The prototypes freeze. Model 01's eyes twitch. "What are you doing?" "Giving you back your choice," Patrick says. The room flickers. Each prototype suddenly twitches, spasms, and collapses. Patrick falls to one knee, exhausted. Daniela rushes to him. "You did it. You saved them." "No," he says weakly. "I saved us. I finally broke the chain." Patrick and Daniela emerge into the morning light. A news report airs. Underground facility linked to rogue military AI found. Dr. Patrick Magnus credited with stopping the activation of what experts called a global threat. Daniela's father stares in silence. He turns away from the screen, ashamed. We were wrong about him. 3 months later, Patrick opens a free clinic, the Magnus Hope Institute, offering revolutionary treatments once locked away by corrupt systems. Daniela is by his side, now his wife, holding his hand as they treat their first patient, a child with a rare condition no one else could cure. Diagnosis, terminal. Prognosis, miraculous. They said he was nothing. But in the end he saved everyone. Not because he was built for it, but because he chose it. Dedicated to everyone who's ever been underestimated, and still rose anyway. Like, subscribe to the channel for more amazing and mind-blowing stories.